it's a disco. Maybe it's a club thing. Maybe it's a street thing.
We'll remove the music and we should be live. Let's just do a quick check real quick. Rick, Rift, can you hear me?
Check. Yep.
Check.
Can you hear me?
Voxic, are you here?
Mic check, mic check.
There we go. We're all live, boys and girls. Welcome to the very first ever episode of Toby's Talkinggrounds. That name could be changed a billion times, but at least for now, that's what we'll go with, and that's gonna be good. I'm joined by none other than Voxic and Rift. Voxic on a daily basis, team captain from Pittsburgh Knights, and Rift, team captain from Set to Destroy X. And the guys, I mean, now that was the quick introduction, but let's start with Voxic. You're on my left side. You're in the slot that I on the overlay called guest number 1.
Yeah.
So introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Voxic. I'm from the Pittsburgh Knights, and yeah, I play PUBG.
Yeah, that was short. You can say more if you want. I mean, you can brag about yourself and stuff.
Short and sweet. I like it.
There you go. Rift, you're up, man. You're up.
I'm Rift. I'm from Set to Destroy X. I am the IGL and captain. I don't know what else to say other than maybe our drop spots are Milta Power and Chumacer.
There you go. That's some good info for teams that wanna people that wanna get to know you guys. Like where do you like to drop? But that was introductions done in a matter of probably 30 seconds. That's pretty good. Okay, let's say Voxic. Just to extend the introduction phase a little bit. If you were to be a free agent, let's say roster roulette, everything can happen. Anyone could be free agents. We could have everybody being on site tomorrow. If you were a free agent, your number one sales pitch to a team, what would be the number one reason for any other team, even Knights, to hire you? Like just the one thing that you do different from everyone else that sets you apart. Could be as a team captain, could be as an individual player. Like what sets you apart?
I mean, I really enjoy IGLing. I think it's like one of the really fun aspects of this game, being able to like micromanage everything and pick where to drop and where people are contesting, stuff like that. So I'm definitely very aware going into the start of games, and it probably go around something like that. Yeah.
Sounds reasonable. What about you, Rift? One thing.
Yeah. For me, I would say probably that like the rotations, like for as an IGL, like the rotations that we make generally put us in good spots to win games. And so I would say that like my rotations and my prep on like knowledge, at least for North American teams, is a lot better than most other North American IGLs.
Okay, there you go. Throwing a bit of banter out there, calling himself as one of the guys on the top. No, that's cool. I mean, that's what we want. No, but that makes sense, right? I mean, because one thing is that you have it's kind of the thing with Counter-Strike. I like to compare those two games because even though they're so far apart, there are still some comparisons you could throw out there. One thing being that even though you say, well, we know the map and we know that we like to loot here, and if we want to go from here to here, that's just what it is. But there's so many factors playing in. I mean, what teams are you up against on the given day? Who drops here and here and there? I mean, so many things coming into play that the average person might not take into account. So for you guys as in-game leaders, I assume at least, there's so much more work to it than just drawing a line on the map saying, we can drive here because there's not going to be any rocks there to drive into.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like a completely different... It's so different than like IGLing in like a like pub setting where like you're playing Face It with your friends and you just go, hey, we can just go there, and if there's people there, we can fight them. Like with IGLing in a competitive setting, you have to have an entire background knowledge on every team that you're playing with to know how they're going to play. If you run into them on the map, are they going to push you? Are they going to fall off? Are they going to let you get the res, or are they going to push into the compound to try and wipe out your team, or even just the player that they knocked? And so you need to have this entire background knowledge on how to do everything before you even step foot in a competitive game at the highest level.
Heard it here first, boys. It's not just all about drawing lines on maps. And for you, Voxic, I mean, now we just, I mean, you haven't had the chance to play yet. Rift. Unfortunately, you guys from NA have to wait like another half hour or so before you get to play GL. But you guys I was casting Bravo, so I obviously didn't don't know what went down in the alpha for you guys. But how is it to be back? You have a sort of bittersweet ending to the finals, some might say.
Yeah, a little bittersweet there, but today was pretty good for us. It's nice to be back competing again, you know, especially it's been quite a long downtime. So I'd say we're a bit rusty, honestly. We had a few games didn't go as planned, but I think we kind of got it together in the last game there. We got a second place. That was our best placement today, so.
Well, that's pretty decent. I mean, I guess that's the story of Knights, isn't it? I mean, it's always it's so easy as a caster when you're with another caster and talk about, oh, Knights, they always do this, and Sets to Destroy, they always do this. But then when you're actually talking to the players, those things that you maybe tend to say when you're casting, you might not say to the actual person. But isn't that kind of the story for you guys, that you're really good at getting top 5, but finishing with the victory has been sort of a rough one?
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with that. We haven't won our LAN yet. We haven't won, we haven't won anything huge. So we've only gotten a few second places and then top 5s.
Yeah, but that was guys. Okay, that was introductions. I guess that was. Now you guys out there in the chat, all of you know exactly who Rift and Boxing is, and why you should pick them up in case they were ever to be free agents, which of course is highly unlikely with their skill sets, but I mean, you never know. It's a new game, everything can happen, everything can be turned upside down. With that said though, let's bounce into the first real category or topic of today, and I want to talk about, I mean, that's how I'm planning on doing these talks. I'm not gonna do them like every other day where you're just talking for the sake of talking and there might not actually be something to talk about, but I want to make it I want to make it worth talking about. And right now I feel like one of the most important things is, I mean, everybody was clapping and cheering and being super happy with the addition to limb penetration, because everybody was hating that you were shooting a guy 8 times in the arm and it didn't die. But it's kind of come with downsides. I mean, the fact that Kevlar, I mean, now you might as well not pick up a vest because they're going to be gone in 2 minutes anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's affected competitive play massively. I didn't really think limb penetration was going to affect that much, especially in like the context that we have it. I thought it was going to only positively affect the game. I didn't think we were going to have this negative drawback where now we're all playing the game and we're taking an SLR shot in the chest and we're going down.
Yeah,
like if you're not stemmed up, you know, you're burning through meds faster, you're burning through all your armor. You basically, I don't know, I'm finding that the end of every scrim game, we're having no utility, no meds, and no armor whatsoever. So it's changing the meta drastically, I think, because while people are wanting to fight more because we've all been playing Face It more and more, being more aggressive on Face It, it's changed the meta in that way. Everyone's feeling a little bit more comfortable fighting against other top players. I think that it mixes with that to say that, well, now kind of you have to not fight as little as possible.
You got to pick your battles now,
Because if you're losing your meds like early game because your vest is gone, you know, it's rough. It's really rough.
Yeah, I mean, and if you come into games with low loot, I mean, you guys like to drop on the East Coast, both of you. There can be games where the compounds that you just get screwed over and you don't get the loot that you want to. And I mean, if you come into the later stage of the game, normally the mentality is that, oh, well, we have enough to fight off one team and then we'll just take what they have, right? But in these days, odds are that they've already burned through all the shit they had before. I can say shit, it's my show. They've already burned through all the stuff they had too, so you're not gonna get any upgrades whatsoever, even when you take out a team, because if they hadn't already lost what they had, you taking them out will most likely destroy their vests or destroy their helmets. Voxic's turn, Rift. Voxic's turn. We have to spread it. We have to send the stake around. I don't know how we're gonna do this in future episodes, but I'll try and pinpoint who's talking.
What I was gonna say is, it's kind of like a lose-lose scenario now, especially with even any fights, even if it's a fight you have to take, you know, you're just going in exactly what you explained. Even if they don't have vests or they do, you blow them off fighting, and then you come out with scraps and you just fight a team that didn't fight at all, and then, you know, you end up losing. So it's definitely a problem right now. I don't know how they could get around it though. I don't think anyone saw the problem coming, honestly.
No, but I mean, how does, and I want to hear it from both of you guys. I'll take Voxic first. How does it impact you guys as a team? Because I mean, you're not afraid of, I mean, at least seemingly
Yeah.
to the viewer. You're not afraid of taking a fight. If you know you have the upper hand, you have the better position, you maybe have the numbers too. At least up until this point, I've never seen you guys run from a fight that you knew you had the upper hand in. But now, have you reached a point as an in-game leader where you say, guys, should we, technically we could also just fall back and see what happens next circle? Or do you still commit to it?
Yeah, I definitely agree that I'm taking a lot more conscious decisions and thinking things through a lot, considering the vests. And I've said, at least a few games in the past, I've said, in a certain situation, let's just fall back because we just don't have the meds, we don't have the vests to fight this.
Yeah, I mean that's true. What about you, Rift? I mean, has the change of scenario in this sense impacted how you control the troops in the battlefield?
I mean, what I really think has like affected it at the end of the day is that when you go to take a fight, you know that you're going in, and it's like it almost has become like a last resort essentially.
Yeah.
Where if you're getting shot at in rotation and you get hit twice, your vest is to like 1 HP basically. You're basically on a 40 HP vest. So even if you get shot in rotation, you're losing like half of your armor. And with all that, it's almost become like a last resort, or let's wait until the end game and let's just try and get those long range kills on some knocks, or let's get some knocks from super far and try and flush those kills and make sure that we have the ability to do that. But I think that kind of fits our gameplay because we kind of make long rotations and we don't really try and just like force our way into most circles. Most of the time until like third or fourth circle, we're just rotating.
Yeah.
So that's generally, it doesn't really hurt us too much in the early game, other than just getting shot in rotation and stuff like that.
But has that become the thing now then? Because I see it more and more often. I mean, teams were talking about the way that Liquid was playing things as they sit on the edge, they sit on the edge, they sit on the edge, and then when you hit circle 4, 5, boom, they go center, and then they get a few circles maybe in their favor. But because they're center, odds are that they would do anyway, and then play it off of that. Is that what we're gonna see now? That the teams that come center early and get the circles, they can just sit there without anyone contesting them because people are gonna be too scared too early on, and everyone else would just be hawking the edges trying to stay put.
What I've noticed is when you're in a center compound, you have no vest anyway because you're taking pot shots off at people in the distance, and you end up with like no vest anyway.
But
it's just kind of like
Oh,
I don't know. That's what I've noticed, at least in Face It and scrims, is if you even if you do have that center compound, it really doesn't prevent your vest from being gone. You just might have a few extra like seconds to res your teammates because you haven't been knocked before.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is though, with the compounds especially, I've noticed like I've seen a few teams going compound after that update, and I think a lot of people are catching on that there might be that 1 or 2 more vests in the compound, and it's definitely worth taking the compound
true.
just to get those extra vests maybe.
For sure. If you get somewhere that hasn't been looted yet, odds that you might get that one painkiller, that you might get that one energy, or a Kevlar helmet, as you said yourself. Because that's the thing, right? I mean, one thing is that you don't want to take fights, but also now it's becoming so much more dangerous to rotate. If you go by our team and you might make out of our life, but as you said yourself, Riff, before, when you're coming into circle 2, if you're rotating by 1 or 2 teams, you don't know if you have a vest going into the first, like your very first actual fight of the game. You might be going in there without anything. And that's, that's kind of scary.
If you get hot drop too, like it's just the end of it because you're leaving with no vest, no meds, and no helmet. Like we were getting hot dropped in scrims for a little bit, and it was just brutal. It was like you were unable to play out of it because you just had no loot whatsoever every single time.
Yeah, exactly. On that, I mean, of course, we're not gonna sit here and come up with the ultimate fix to what could be done to make it better. But I've heard a lot of different suggestions from people when I've talked to them about what could be done to sort of solve this. And I want to hear from you guys. I mean, Voxic, first off, what if you I don't know if you have like the golden idea to how to come up with the fix for what's going on here, but do you have a what would be your apparent like immediate suggestion to what could be done? Should they have more durability? Should they take less damage? I mean, what are we in?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to approach it for sure, and each way is definitely going to have its drawbacks and its advantages, but just thinking off the top of my head, I mean, maybe being able to pick up a second vest even. I don't know, that might be stretching it a bit, but yeah.
Carry a helmet for a friend. I mean,
maybe.
technically, it just has to take up that much more space, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I heard suggestions saying that once you get a vest or a helmet, it should be permanent. But then you have those level 3 helmet scenarios where all of a sudden those crates, they're gonna be even more
scary
juicy.
as fuck, yeah.
They're gonna be even more juicy than they were before. So that's probably not gonna work.
I think I think the permanent solution isn't a solution. It's just kind of like a patch, like just because to like fix like a bleeding issue. It's like a band-aid.
Yeah.
I think that the best option would probably be to either like just completely remove the level 1 vest or actually make it viable, like durability wise, and um up the durability just on all the vests, or even make it so that the down players don't, when you're shooting a down player, they don't lose their vest. Um, because something that you notice is a player might take 3 shots in the team fight, their vest goes to 1 HP, they get shot 1 or 2 HP, and they get shot twice on the ground, and then their vest is gone.
Exactly.
And
That could work, yeah.
so if you remove the down players getting their vests and armor damage, that could help.
Yeah, that actually becomes the thing, right? Because I was wondering, actually, I didn't think about that before just now after the update that screwed over Kevlar. Have you guys been thinking, like, when you run up, I mean, it could even be in the heat of the battle, right? Have you guys been thinking when you've knocked someone and you want to go for the insta-flush to aim for the feet or the hands? Or do you just spray them down and because they have to die fast? Or do you try to do it to sort of preserve whatever Kevlar they had?
Previously, I'd already been doing that, so it really didn't change much. But because like you just had to, like the helmet and the vest were important even back then, but now it's just 10 times more.
What about you, Vox? Is that something you think about?
Honestly, I didn't think about it much before this update, but I've definitely noticed myself aiming for the hands and feet a lot more since then.
Well, in fights or just in the finishing?
I mean, even in
guys,
even
shoot him in the arms,
yeah.
shoot him in the arms. I need that vest, man. I need that vest.
Aim for the helmet. You know, that's a huge advantage if you get their full vest.
That is true. That is true. Only headshots, boys. We need the vests. That's how we do it.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. That makes sense. No, but I mean, that's of course one thing to take into play, that you're gonna play not scared necessarily, but more conservative in the sense that in the end, it doesn't matter if you win a 4-on-5 early game. If winning that fight means that you're gonna go out in 15th place later stages, you're not gonna want to take that fight, obviously. But I mean, coming off of that, do you think? And I don't know how to formulate this question because I haven't prepared it. Normally, you should stick to the protocol, but I was trying to thinking off script here. Do you think a fix to this could be to not revert the limb penetration to go back to what it was before, where we had like hands would block off damage? But there's got to be a reason that it's been upped so much, right? So we know for a fact that shooting a person in the hand or the feet doesn't damage your vest. Like the durability won't take any damage at all. But could there be a thing that if you get shot in the hand, that vest doesn't take as much damage? You know what I mean? It's a kind of blocked out. So like because right now, if you have your hand in front of you or like your arm, because I think they've completely removed hitboxes on hands. If you get shot in the arm, it goes through the arm and hits the body, right? And it still does full vest damage to the body, even though you hit him in the arm. Could there be a thing that the damage is going to be the same overall, but the vest is going to take, so it's like less damage depending on how you hit a person? Could that be a fix? Maybe. I don't know. I'm just thinking. I mean,
personally, that's just definitely a possibility. But I mean, I like that idea. I think that's a much better idea than the idea I even had.
Solid fix.
But I'm not sure how viable it is for them.
No, it's gonna be tricky as hell to incorporate as well. But that was just the thought. I think because everything got a little delayed. Unfortunately, we had some delays at with the GL games that caused us to start a bit later. So with you having to leave in just a few minutes, Rift, I wanna sort of get your thoughts on these last couple of things as well. And going into the third topic is gonna be point systems. And what a great day to talk about point systems, because we had a pretty big announcement earlier today. It might have flown over the head for some people, but GLL, starting the new season, have worked with, I mean, that's what you do after every season, right? Since there isn't a set in stone rule set by PUBG Corp how things are going to be done. TOs or tournament organizers are going to be looking into the previous season and say what worked, what didn't work. Okay, apparently teams can grind through Bravo the entire season and make their way into make their way into the finals. We got to do something about that. And now they've said, I mean, now they've pretty much made the statement that, guys, if you're in Bravo, you're screwed. You need to get back up into Alpha. And I like that. I mean, they're taking the feedback. Once you have the season live, you cannot just say after week 1, oh, this didn't work, we'll change it for week 2. You gotta just commit to it, right? But I mean, how does the current way that have been changed feel to you guys? I mean, of course, it's only 1 weekend, and you guys haven't even played that Rift. But have you seen the point system yet?
Yeah, I have.
And how do you like it?
I mean, personally, I think that last GLL, while the Bravos were a little skewed, and I think it was mainly due to the fact that there were 48 teams in the whole of GLL.
Yeah.
So now that we only have 32, and we're reducing the Bravo point system to 50%, the quality of the bottom teams are going to be higher.
True.
Mixed with the points that you're getting in Bravo is less. So I'm viewing Bravo as basically a death trap.
Yeah,
you go into Bravo and your season could possibly even be over.
It's gonna be tough to get out, and you're gonna not be able to get points.
Yeah. And you're not gonna get as many points if you do well, and it's just gonna be hard all around. Yeah. So I think that personally, it's just tough. It's almost like a death trap. That's just all it is.
But also, I mean, they came up with the news that Awesome and GLL has sat down together, probably not sat down, but a Discord or whatever, and come up with a collab point system. As a player, how does that feel? I mean, knowing that, I mean, do you guys, when you go into a tournament, for example, Style Ladder, I actually did the math on this earlier. I even made a graph that was too ugly to show you guys. Unfortunately, it's pretty ugly. I could bring it up. I don't know, would that make sense to bring up the graph? It actually kind of does make sense. I'll import this picture to the show. I'll just show you guys real quick. Image. We'll just add. It doesn't really matter what it is. There we go. This is a point system. You guys, if you open the chat up right now, you can see this. This right here is a point system I've made. Oh, it's not a point system I've made. It's the point system for... you can see in the bottom, Style Ladder, this season of Style Ladder, GLL Season 2, Awesome Season 2, and then the new one that we have is the red one, right? So what I've done is I've taken all the point system, because they're going off with different things, different kill points and whatnot, and I've diverted it all down so that first place is 100 points. I've just divided it all down to that. And then you see here, with the new point system, it's gonna grant you more points as we slide down here, but then when we get down to the bottom, whoom, it's gonna be even rougher. You can sort of see the red line taking a big dip underneath all the other ones there. Whereas to the Awesome Season 2, I mean, you got if you were in first place, you got a ton of points, but you were dipping down low after that. And it's just kind of interesting to see how it's minimal difference, but it's going to be the difference maker in the end.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Oh, it's just a quick note.
I think that with that, like, graph that you have, I mean, in Awesome, you used to have to basically just played for a win and a pretty killful win, right?
Yeah.
In GLL, there's a lot of proning out for placement, and I think that has to do with how, like, smooth the graph is in the middle.
Yeah.
So I actually would love to see almost either a, like, kill centered point system where you get some sort of multiplier if you win the game, or I'd like to see some sort of like more centralized on getting a top 3 in the game, rather than anything for even like maybe even like almost nothing for 4 through last, but you have a like kills matter and 1 through 3 matter.
Yeah, I see what
but
you're
it's a little bit weird because it's just this game. There's just so much proning out right now. I think that there's just like
but that's the name of the game, right? I mean, until we reach a point where everything will be set in stone, so players, I mean, you guys, especially team captains, can work their way around it and figure out what's up and how to do things. You will have to adapt to every single point system. Curse Trials, I put them in I didn't get them in that one right there, but their kill points is half in a
It's pretty
100%
nuts.
top is half of GLL right now. There used to be, in the beginning of competitive tournaments, there used to be a rule that 25 kills is a win. And that's actually exactly what GLL and Awesome has gone back to now. And I like that, because we were all the way up at 37 kills to a win. And that's just too much for placements, I feel like. But let's leave it at that for now, and then go over to assists. I want to just talk about that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Rift because I can see that he wants to talk and he only has 5 minutes until he has to start
Yeah, I only
playing.
have
but I mean, the getting kills stolen. I mean, one thing is that it happens all the time in public games and Face It and whatnot, but these are the points that could, for you guys. I mean, you Voxic, you guys lost GLL LAN with by 1 kill.
Yep.
1 kill made the difference, and in that game you had 4 kills stolen. I mean, doesn't that don't you just go out and want to break something afterwards? I mean,
it's frustrating getting kills stolen. It's one of the most frustrating things in this game, honestly.
But would it be though if you knew that you got the assists? I'm not saying it should be half
it'd be
the
a lot
kill, because I
better.
feel like that's a lot, but shouldn't you? I mean, you were the heavy lifter here. You were the one that got the guy knocked, even though he might just have been standing still and you could just one-tap him with the K98. You were the one to get the knock. Shouldn't you be granted something? I'll start off with Rift because I know you have to go. Rift, what are your thoughts on like giving points for assists?
I would love to even see it go as far as like 70% for the knock, and then
Oh, that's a lot.
20 or 30% for the kill.
So that's the kill itself. It's actually just a little bonus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if you get the knock and then somebody finishes your kill, they still get something for finishing the kill, but you would get a large majority of the points.
What if you get a knock but he gets revived? Do you get points for that?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it just has to be that there has to be an incentive for other players to finish kills, but I don't want to see the player who just shot the guy in the open field and did nothing get a large majority of those points. I'd love to see like a 70-30.
Okay.
But I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I'd like to we need to do a lot of testing is really
for
where
sure,
it would go.
I mean, the same with everything, right? I mean, the circle settings don't just come out off of one guy saying this number looks funny. I mean, there's so much testing going on coming into all these things. So of course, I feel like it's coming up on the drawing board now for tournament organizers, and with API being available for the majority of TOs, it's technically a possibility. It's gonna require some more working, I guess, but it is an option. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It should be if it should be 70-30, I don't know, but I mean, it's obviously up for discussion. That's what we're doing right now.
And on that note,
yeah,
I'm going to have to dip out.
I'm sorry
that
you
had to go.
It's unfortunate, but of course, video games over podcasts. That's in the end. That's the reason we're even here. We're trying to bring more content to the game that we all love so much. Thank you, Rift, so much for tuning in, and me and Voxic will continue the discussion.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
All right.
Good luck, GLL.
All right.
Yeah, good luck, man. Good luck. Have some good games.
See you guys later.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Take care, man. And with that, I can remove his cam. There we go. There you go. But Voxic, let's continue off of that. I mean, assists in PUBG. Do you agree with Rift 70-30? Is it that much harder or that much more deserving to get the knock?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely. I think something around 50-50 would be fair, but like you guys said, it's definitely gonna need to be tested. A lot of games are gonna be need to be ran and figure out kind of what's the sweet spot. It took a while with the circles to figure out the sweet spot. I think it's gonna be the same thing with points for assists and knocks.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I mean, it's a huge task, things, and I feel bad for anyone trying to do these things in the sense of actually making the final decisions, because you know that half the people are gonna love you, half the people are gonna hate you, and the third half is gonna, I don't even know. I mean, it's just you never get everyone satisfied, and there will always be. That's the worst thing, right? Because the same thing with these point system. When you want to test them out, you're always gonna run into situations where the system you have doesn't work. And you won't know that the system didn't work until you end up in those scenarios.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the tricky part.
Yeah, exactly. You will never figure out if a plane can fly if you don't put it into the air and make it crash into the ground and kill people. I mean, you know what I mean, right? That's just maybe a bad analogy, but I mean, you kind of get the
Yeah,
gist
you got
of
the
what
idea,
I'm
yeah.
trying to say here. So there probably, I mean, if we get assists implemented, there probably will be a season of whoever dares to implement it first, where one team gets 19 kill assists in a game, but no actual kills, and that just screws them over super hard, where they say, but we finished the guys, and then, yeah, that's just how it is, right?
Yeah, that's how it is, especially in PUBG.
Yeah,
Got
exactly.
a lot of testing.
It's just such a big thing, though, that you feel like it's at least necessary to be discussed.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely agree with that.
For sure. I mean, okay, that was the third subject, and then now off to subject number 4, which is not really a subject that much. I call it the state of PUBG. Like where are? Hell, I know it's a big one, right? What we want changed in parentheses, but it's more of a. I know. I mean, for me personally, I'll gladly come out and say that. When I started casting PUBG, that was the best time of my life. I mean, I came into this game coming from Counter-Strike. It was just amazing. I mean, I've always loved playing Battlefield, bigger scale strategy shooter games. So PUBG was like the freaking sweet spot, right? So from that, and then being able to cast it personally, like being able to fly around, that's what I loved with games like
awesome.
these. I mean, when you're observing Counter-Strike, it's mostly either jumping from one player to another, or I have these preset camera paths where if I press 1 on the numpad, it'll do a 360 on the T-spawn, and then that's about it, right? Here, I actually have like full freaking helicopter control of flying around with the camera. That's amazing. But then we hit the down period where there wasn't that many leagues playing, and everything was glitching and desyncing and rubber banding, and everything was. And I mean, honestly, I was bad. Like, can I really try and go full time in what's going on right now?
Yeah.
But then lately, I mean, over the last couple of months, it's just been one big. I mean, every time a new patch has come out, there might be some issues right off the bat. There always is when you get new stuff. I mean, we fix one bug, you create 10 new ones, right? But it's just been going in the right direction, I feel like.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. I think a lot of the changes have been pretty good. Besides limb penetration, obviously, but like you said, one fix makes 10 more problems.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, there's been a lot of good stuff. I kind of like the new the pinging system they added. That's pretty cool.
Have you
That's
used
really cool.
it?
I used it for the first time today in GLL.
Did you actually use it while you were playing? Like the whole where you you hold on?
Yeah.
Alt, or how does it work?
So what we did was we just bound it. We bounded the ping button to our left mouse click. So whenever we shoot, it just shows immediately where we're shooting.
Oh, that's kind of smart.
Fancy little trick there, but
that's next level, man. Leaking some night strats on day 1 of the new patch. There you go. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Not gonna lie. So you always know what direction people are shooting. It might be a little rainbowy on your underneath
definitely.
your. For those of you guys who don't know what we're talking about, it's not the pings themselves, like the actual markers you put on the map. It's underneath. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's underneath your compass, like your north, east, west directionary navigation. It's underneath there. You see like a small bar of I think it's Alt and middle mouse button or something like that. If you don't keep binding it differently, of course. If I click that and I look directly north, then I will have this little area flashing underneath my compass. But if a guy's standing on the right of me and I do it, then he will see that's east. So no, west. Sorry, coordination here. Yeah. So it's like pinpointing directions without setting designated markers on a specific area. It's just like north for me, so you can see, oh, that's actually 270 whatever the hell for me.
Pretty handy.
Smart. Yeah, it is super smart, and I would like to hear that you guys are already using it, and that's a pretty fast adaptation.
Yeah, I found out today. So
do you do that when new patches come out? Like, of course, as an IGL, you wanna know what's up, and I'm sure whenever they added the or changed the scenery on the west side of military, all the IGLs were running in circles down there trying to fight all the good spots and stuff.
Yeah.
I assume that you were. I mean, how much time on a daily basis? Let me know, because you stream A lot?
I
not
stream
really, right?
sometimes, but pretty rarely.
Yeah. How much time on it? Because you're full-time PUBG player, right?
Yeah.
Do you have
yeah.
to study next to playing? Like, do you have
No.
Do you have a job? Like,
Nope,
no?
just PUBG.
It's just PUBG. So how many hours a day, approximately, would you say that you spend not playing? Of course, you're probably in a game, but are you spending researching more than playing the game yourself?
Yeah, so it's definitely it's gotten to a point where most of the spots like I know on the map, but especially when a new update comes out, that's the time when you really got to put in the hours, just like going over the map, finding these little sneaky spots that you can just pull up with your squad and just absolutely kill everybody from. So I'd say usually at least a few hours a day when some big change happens.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting because there are a lot of these sort of changes happening. Also, because for the majority of people would say, "Oh, sure, they added one more shack there. Who cares?"
Yeah.
But for you guys, should you have an end game there and you run over there and wait, what? There's a shack here now? I mean,
Yep.
There are even places I believe there are still a few places on Miramar that are in the game that aren't actually on the map.
On the map, yeah.
Those places are insane because people that haven't really investigated that area, they won't know about them because they won't see them on the map if they're far away.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a few times where we've just been running around the woods, even on a wrangle, and we just find a shack and we're like, oh, okay. Didn't know this was here.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty smart. Not gonna lie. But yeah, State of PUBG, what do you want changed? Is there anything that if you had a direct source to the PUBG devs right now, here today, where you would say, guys, can we do something about this?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to my mind is flashbangs. I love flashbangs in CSGO. They're like one of the best mechanics in my opinion. I'd really love to see them get the same love in PUBG. Because right now, you throw one, maybe if it lands like on top of them, you blind one person. But it was more like CSGO. I think that'd be really cool.
So how should it be changed? So like should it have be like the same mechanic as in Counter-Strike?
It's pretty hard to kind of like render an idea of what the perfect flashbang
you
would
had
be,
the unlimited economy and 100% financial help behind you to make a change in PUBG. What would it be?
Besides flashbangs?
No, just elaborate on that. I mean, how are flashbangs not working now the way you want them to?
Yeah, so I think 7 seconds is a little short for like the amount of time until they pop. Because most of the times you can't get them as far as you'd like to, and the flash radius is pretty small. It's I think it's like less than 15 meters or something. It's really small. So just changing those two things.
So boost them a bit more?
Yeah, buff them a bit, see how it goes, maybe nerf them a bit, play with it.
Makes sense. Would you think that would change it though? I mean, of course you don't want to throw flashbang into a room and then flashing the entire first floor of a building. That would be a little like we saw with the Molotovs, right? When they did the boost on there, it was like, okay, here we go. And now you can throw 2 Molotovs and the entire building's on fire. And then I believe actually they secretly nerfed that down
they did, for
a little
sure.
bit too, because they were like right when they came out with the big grenade patch there, there was a lot of fire all over the place all the time. It was
crazy.
But do you guys pick up flashbangs? Just to elaborate a little bit on that. Do you guys?
Yeah.
You do, or do you tell the teams to do that too?
Well, I never say like pick up flashbangs, but I always pick up flashbangs. I got to show them some love every now and then. Try and get a nice play.
Yeah. You don't see them use that much in competitive play though. More and more I feel like you do, but it's not as much as you say yourself. It's not as much as you probably could have.
Yeah, definitely not. It's hard to pull off as well, especially in competitive.
One thing that comes to my mind when you talk about things that could be changed or done differently is that, to me at least, we have one slot. I mean, in PUBG you have 5 slots, 1 through 5. You have a primary weapon, secondary weapon, a gun, a melee, and a utility. Right? Those 5 slots you have. One of these slots, maybe even 2, are being used for absolutely nothing other than a pan that's not even supposed to have the effect it has.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and this might be a long shot for some, but I've just had, maybe it just comes off of me having so many games where it happened, especially people playing solo games. When you have these sort of games where you find 2 8x scopes and you never find a sniper.
Oh.
Imagine. Just imagine. Or if you find a 4x real early and you don't get a weapon to put it on, right? Imagine if you could take that scope and throw it in your melee slot and use it as a binocular. You couldn't shoot or anything. It would just be like you press 4 and you would have the scope in your hand. And then when you zoom in with your hand or with your scope in your hand, you could use it as a binocular, you know?
Yeah,
like the
that's a good
pirate
idea.
binocular. So you would actually get the benefit of having a 8x scope. Of course, you can't put it on a weapon there where it doesn't fit. I mean, you couldn't have a 15 times on a pistol. That wouldn't make any sense. But you would still be able to use it for scouting or just so it doesn't stay in your bag and doesn't do anything. Just, I mean, why not use those melee slots for something useful? I mean, who picks up a shiv or machete? People would rather just turn around and go into a fist fight. I mean, honestly though, why are they in a game? There's gotta be some guy at PUBG Corp that can look over statistics and say, so okay, how many machetes have people run over, and how many have they picked up? I mean, it's just people don't use them. Same thing with quick draw magazines for pistols. They're just taking up slots that could be used for things that are actually viable.
Absolutely.
So, one idea, just off of the top of my head, make a melee slot that is actually, either you have the melee slot be useful, and because right now the only thing that is useful is a pan, right?
That's
it's blocking shots. That's what it does. It's additional armor. Why not make more things? And I don't know what it should be. The binocular thing could be one thing, but why not make more things that you can find on the ground that you can use in that slot? Because then you all of a sudden have to prioritize. Do I want to have the pan? Because you could not pick up a pan and put it in your backpack and then pick up a shiv. If you pick up a machete, you're gonna drop the pan on the ground. You cannot have a pan in your backpack, right? So you gotta prioritize. Do I want to have the binocular? Do I want to have the pan? Do I want to have
that'd be a really cool
belt
dynamic
where you could have an extra grenade, something? Because then all of a sudden, also for you as a in-game leader, you could start kind of. I know we have like a flanker and a scout, and you could start making more designated roles based on who carries what.
Yeah, that's very true.
Item. So I'm not saying it should be a perk and you should be able to have, I don't know, nuclear rockets in your back pocket and stuff like that, like Call of Duty style, but just things that could assist you, but not to an overkill extent.
Right. Just little things that could add an extra dynamic into the game, especially with like a flanker role or someone that's a sniper having, that binocular.
Yeah, exactly. Or the scout. I mean, the scout being able to drive up to a point and then look with the 8x without necessarily having found an 8x in the game. He can just find that.
That's a good idea. Yeah, use it. I'd really like to see that.
I've just been wondering about that. I mean, that why do we have this melee slot if nobody ever uses it for anything?
Yep.
Same thing with the pistol. I mean, I like pistols. They're fun and they're good for the first 15 seconds of the game until you find until you find legit anything else in the entire game. But I mean, more often than not, I think I run over more pistol extended max quick draws or whatever than I run over weapons or ammunition. Yeah. Imagine if all those spawns were viable things. It would be so much easier to get looted. You could leave your... I mean, the entire dynamic of the game would just change if you only had to spend 2 minutes looting instead of 3.5, for example.
Yeah, you're definitely right with that one. Because I know early looting as well, compound looting, it takes like even up to 5 minutes just to get fully looted or decently looted.
Exactly, and people are saying, "Oh, these guys, this team is a team that likes to rotate late." No, they don't. They just can't get proper loot before that time of the game. I mean, you guys, you guys split compounds, right? For those of you guys sitting out there in the chat who don't know, who haven't watched that much competitive PUBG, I assume that most of you have. But there is an area of the map that I'm gonna say pretty much everyone called the Knights Split, and it can be done different ways, but it's pretty much from shelter on a wrinkle, from shelter up to mansion out to Lipovka. You have some smaller compounds in that area. You also have the prison area, but everything around there, you will have 4 guys, most oftenly knights, or you guys, if you're in the game, splitting in different ways according to who's in the lobby and whatnot. but the downtime between having been done looting one compound, having to travel over to the next one, you might not even have found a car there.
Yeah.
It's not because you don't want to be the first guy center in the next circle. You just won't be able to, and that's what you sacrifice, right? I mean, if you're looting Pachinki, then 9 out of 10 times you're going to be in the circle, at least in the corner or close to, and you'll get looted fast because you have buildings all over the place. You guys do it differently. You're a little safer, you're out on the side, and should the
Take your
circle
time,
go
man.
east, you're going to have like 15 different compounds you can go to because they're all going to be open.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say there's been a few times in competitive play too where I've come out of prison without even an AR. Like it could be that bad sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Even
because there's
with
pistols
additional-
everywhere.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Why? and I respect the fact that, guys, we made this weapon, we want it in the game. You know what? Fair enough. But then either make ARs and SMGs worse somehow, or boost the
Even it out.
pistols to an extent that they're going to be viable. I even thought about being able to dual wield pistols. I mean, if you could have two pistols, so you could shoot twice the speed, like you could tap faster. You couldn't scope in, obviously, because you cannot have, unless if you put like them right in front of your eyes and you try and look with one eye through each eye inside, that probably wouldn't work. But I mean, you couldn't scope in. You could only like the controlled hipfire. I guess it's just called aiming, right? It's not hipfire because hipfire is not doing
laser
anything.
sight?
Yeah, exactly, kind of laser sight thingy, right? So you could do that, and then it's of course going to take you longer to reload when you want to do that. But that could be one way of doing it, or just saying screw extended max. Let's have all the pistols have the maximum capacity. So, for example, for the P1911, I think it goes from 7 up to 15.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Guys, let's just imagine that all the pistols have extended max from the beginning, because people would start picking up the Glock, I assume, in early stages. I mean, if you had the extended mag to begin with there, that's a pretty
It's not
solid
bad.
close quarter weapon, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Whereas to now, even if you get chased by an opponent in the early stages of the game, you'll run over the pistol trying to find something that's actually worth it. I mean, you just don't want to have that in your game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. It's rough.
It is kind of rough, right? I mean, at least I would assume so. I don't know if you're in a hurry to be somewhere else. We're nearing the 1 hour mark, and I feel like, I mean, I assume that we're gonna go quite a bit off script. We've been a little off. I feel like we've been we've been pretty decent at
Hit some good topics.
Yeah, exactly. And I would love to have you back for another episode at some point.
Yeah, I'd love to. Definitely.
Yeah, it's, I mean, the insightful people, especially in a game like when it's something you're so passionate about, as I am, and I know you are as well. It's just always amazing to have these discussions. But now, honestly, we're gonna bring it to the fifth and final point of today's. Is it called a podcast? If people can see us, I can't really. I don't know what the term is.
Something like that.
We'll call it that. We're gonna jump over to the Twitch chat Q&A. So here by my side, you cannot see my hand. Here by my side, over there, I have Mr. Voxic himself. Can you give us your full name, please, Voxic?
My full name is Jace Voxic Patras.
There you go. Guys, if you have any questions for me or for Jace, most likely Jace, because I'm going to be here every time we're doing this. I'm not sure Voxic is going to be here every time we're doing this. Do you have any questions? It can be personal. No, not personal. I mean, you can ask them. I'm not sure that that Voxic is going to answer, but you can probably ask them. If you have any questions that you would like to have answered from one of the top pro players in competitive PUBG, fire away. We got the first one here from Maxi PUBG. How do you improve as an in-game leader in lower tier competitive PUBG? Like some good go-to rules.
That's a good question. That is a very good question. There's a lot of things that go into it, especially in lower tier competitive play, because there's a lot of teams that you can't really track the teams. You know, in high up play, you know what people are gonna do, you know where people loot. But for a starting out IGL and lower tier comp, I'd say just watch your VODs back after every mistake. Think what you could have done better. Think if there's another play you could have done and what would have happened. And just it's definitely hard. It's definitely difficult to get your foot in the door IGLing. But as long as you just put in the hours and really go over your VODs, watch a lot of competitive play in the higher levels, and kind of try and mimic it, I'd say that'd be the best advice.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that when we were casting Bravo earlier today, me and Esquire. We saw great people only, and I just found it funny because Navi, we know as a team, like to drop Primorsk on Erangel, and they like to drop Valle del Mar down on the southwestern side on Miramar. And great people only, they're doing the exact same thing. And I was just like, is there a thing with teams that like hoppers? Or how does, like, if you like one, do you have to like the one on the other map too? Or how does this work? But then we were talking about it, and it might just be these guys having seen Navi having so great success with what they've been doing, saying, guys, it's available. Why shouldn't we do it? I mean, don't fix it if it ain't broke, right? So,
absolutely.
So that could be a thing, but yeah, I hope that gave you some hinders, Maxi. Then also a question here from X Arch. I mean, this is probably a bit of a fun one, but Voxic, why is it always nights when you're getting hit from 1 kilometer away? Is that a Texas thing? Maybe
that's definitely a Texas thing. Yeah, I'd say if you're getting hit from 1 kilometer away, it's your best bet is it's him. Yeah.
I mean, I just find it impressive, and it's always like the MRC. Just it's like, dude, the guy's 700 meters away. How the hell did you pull that off on a moving target? But yeah, that's just Texas for you. He's a madman when it comes to that. Any other questions, please? We'll sit around for a few minutes more, and then I think we have hit the 58-minute mark or so, and that we had a warm up time, so we'll probably sit around for like another 5-7 minutes. And answer some questions here. Maxi, again, is there any major difference in playstyle on Erangel and Miramar? And why, if there is? Do you guys do, as an IGL, do you think differently depending on what map you're on?
Yeah, that's definitely that's a great question. Because that's a huge factor going into which map you're playing. I'd say Erangel. It's a lot easier to follow the terrain and figure out where you want to go and what plays you want to make and what side you want to take the circle from. But in Miramar, you kind of have to play a lot more on foot. You have to really scout out where you're going to go and take your time and take your fights wisely.
Makes sense. I hope, once again, Maxi, I hope that answered your questions. You're going to be the next up-and-coming IGL. I can feel already with all the hints coming. You're going to be the one killing a Voxic a year from now. And you're like, damn it, I gave him all my good ideas. What did I do? I killed myself, man.
Unlucky.
Feels bad, man. No, but I mean, I could talk for hours on end about PUBG. I love the game, so
yeah, same.
But do you have anything that we haven't talked about today that would be, to you at least, relevant in the sense of being somewhat close to the topics we've been discussing? Like, have we missed something? Something you wanted to say but you didn't get to?
We talk about the new gun, the mutant. I want to know, what do you think about that?
Yeah. I was gonna throw in the patch. When I came up with the just training map. No, the mutant. I actually got to run around with it a bit today. I don't know why, but there's a thing when you're observing in PUBG that every time they add a new weapon, the patch where that weapon is the new one, the sound messes up. And I don't know what's causing it. It's just annoying as hell. So, for example, when the SLR came in, once you shot, there was like it just bugs in your ear and it's annoying. And right now the mutant is doing that. So in Miramar, everybody was playing the mutant, and I couldn't spectate anyone because I knew the sound was gonna be annoying. So I had to look at people, what weapons they had in order to spectate them. It was it's dreadful. But I'm gonna write a Twitter longer or whatever you call them to PUBG and say fix this, because I mean it's
angry
a pattern,
letter,
right? It's not angry. It's just, guys, there's got to be a pattern to this. If it's always the new weapon of the patch that sort of messes up in this way. No, but having seen it, I mean, I'm always when I see a new weapon added, I don't want to have weapons for the sake of weapons. In my opinion, we could have one DMR, one AR. I mean, that could work too. You see that happening in other games. I'm not gonna bring up Fortnite as a classic symbol of best game development, like weapons development, but they have a shotgun and they have a rifle. I mean, those kind of ways, right? It can work.
Simplistic.
Where I mean, I don't see the idea of adding stuff for the sake of adding it, which I feel like PUBG has done to a certain extent with some things. So here I'm seeing, okay, we have a rifle. It's not a DMR. You cannot put sniper attachments on it. It's the, by the way, for those of you guys who don't know, it's the new MK47 mutant rifle. We have a new weapon. You cannot shoot it fully automatic. So that's one thing. And you can burst it with a 2-bullet burst. Is the 2-bullet burst going to be better than the 3-bullet burst? Maybe, I don't know. Is the single fire better at single firing than all other ARs on single fire? Maybe. I mean, the bullet speed is insanely slow. That's what I've noticed. It's
pretty slow.
I was shooting at a target at 800 meters, and it was pretty much. I did that with the. I don't have like the waggy jaggy exact timings and everything, but But I shot with the M16, the M4, and the mutant.
Right.
And the like from when I fired the shot till I saw it hit the target with the mutant was just so insanely much slower than with the M16. And then of course it does more damage, but you have to lean or to lead your target so much more. And in case you guys don't know what leading is like you have to aim that much more in front of him to hit. That I personally like once you go into the DMR/sniper range of things, I wouldn't find it viable. So it would be like a, you can't really say close range sniper, but it would never be a close range weapon in the sense that you have fully automatic.
Yeah, it seems pretty mid range. I know if you like crouch with it and just put a vert grip on it, you could spam it pretty fast.
Yeah,
and it's like a laser almost.
But you wouldn't do that with like at 150 meters, would you?
Probably not. No.
So I'm just trying, like every time they add a new weapon, I'm trying to say, where would this weapon be better than any other weapon in its class?
Right.
And I cannot find a place where the mutant outshines any weapon that isn't there or that is there already. Can you?
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, is there a case where you would say if I could pick any AR in this specific scenario, I would pick the mutant?
It depends. I mean, if I have an SMG, and I'm just like really trying, I'm thinking I'm gonna be taking a lot of close range, mid range fights. Then maybe.
Okay, so the sake of not being able to find any other weapon, you would pick the mutant. It kind of becomes a pistol syndrome, right? You'll pick it because you can't find anything else. But that's what I'm saying. I like the idea of adding new weapons, but what's the use for it? Like, why? Of course, having more versatility in weapon choices, but why not just add that many more of the weapons that are already there?
Yeah, I could agree with that. And there's not really a good gun that goes with it, since it's kind of just like a stagnant like mid-range gun.
Thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're much better off with like an AK and a mini. You know, you're just much more. You do a lot more damage with that.
But talking about new weapons, we're not that far away from the barrel, the M7, whatever people want to call it. Have you do you pick that fully decked over fully decked AK?
I've been trying it. I really want to use it.
You want to like it.
I really want to like it really bad, but I just can't. I can't get the hang of it.
Same.
AK is just better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's like the mentality of, oh my god, there is actually a grip slot on it, then it has to be better, right? But no, no. I'm not really feeling that either. I mean, I agree with you totally. I feel like I've given it its and then it's the thing. Is it better at tapping? No, it's horseshit for long range tapping. Is it better close? Yeah, if you shoot 3 bullets, but if you don't shoot your 4th, then you're gonna die and it's gonna miss anyway. Pick up an AK, pick up a SCAR, pick up an M4. I mean, where does it outshine? Where does it give me a reason to pick it up over any other weapon? And if it doesn't have that impact, why is it in the game? I mean, I understand it if it's there from the start, but why do they add a weapon that you don't want to pick up if you could pick anything else? That's that to me is like that factor.
Yeah, it doesn't help the scene.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed. I think I missed a question here. Let me just see real quick. Maxi again here. You said you're at a lot of changes, studying map, etc. Do they often add new compounds without mentioning it?
Huh.
I think, I mean, with the patch where the only thing they really said was, well, of course, we saw the pictures of the western coast and the little new city area intersection they made on the military island.
Right.
And then I think I'm not gonna be exactly sure I'm quoting this right, but I think it said other buildings has been added on a wrinkle or something like that. That's pretty much what it said.
It's
and
really
then
vague.
Then you had to sort of fly around
gotta
and find
find
it
'em, yeah.
yourself. I didn't see the compound next to
Treasure
Sarki for like the first week, I think. I was playing all week long streaming, and I don't think I saw that compound until I was talking to my chat. Accidentally, AFK jumped on Sarki. I was like, wait.
What is this?
And then you think to yourself, like, has it just been that long since I've been in Sarki that I forgot that there was a compound there? Or is it actually a new one?
Yeah.
Like, those kind of things. Yeah, exactly, because how you said as well, like, some of the shacks aren't even on the map. I mean, that's just... That's, I mean... Yeah, I don't want to be the one to shame PUBG, but... And I don't know how maps work in PUBG. I don't know if it's a drawing that they've made, like, in hand, or if it's a lot of in-game pictures that have been put together. I don't know how
I'm not
it is,
sure.
but you would assume that it wouldn't be the biggest task to update the map when you update it in-game.
Throw in a shack, yeah.
I mean, that's one thing, but even if you go to Miramar, if you look at San Martin, you have like the west coast of San Martin, and it still shows where those big barracks used to be. And we're talking 2 months ago now, if not
really?
even more. Like, you look at the map of Miramar, you have so many like brown, grayish spots on like in cities and areas like that where you can see that there was supposed to be a building on the map where it's just flat now.
Yeah.
And that's for new people coming in, especially for people like Maxi here wanting to be better at in-game leading. It's not exactly making it easier for you trying to understand the map if you don't get the actual map to help you.
I definitely agree with that.
Do you have anything else that you wanna say before we round off today's talk, Voxic, or
I think we banged out a lot of those.
We did. It's been a good talk, man. This is
definitely.
good. This is good. I
Good
want to
stuff.
do this more. I can already announce for you guys out there and you guys, Voxic, if you're gonna be the viewer next time or not, that plans for episode 2 has already been made, and I've been in talk already with the people that I'm gonna be having in. And it's actually gonna be really exciting because I know you probably, are you the only NA playing EU?
I got asked that like 2 days ago, and I wasn't sure. I think so. I'm not 100%, but I think so.
I think you might be as well. He's one of the weirdos that actually snuck his way out of NA and took on an EU disguise and has been able to live here for the entire time. No, but I'm gonna be talking to some of the guys from the Korean scene.
Oh, really? That's gonna be super cool.
Exactly. Talking with them about how both player mentality and the game. I mean, just how it's played and what's different in the play styles we see in the Korean, Asian scene. Not only Korea, but like the Asian scene in general compared to the European. So a lot of like Westerns. I mean, CIS, EU, NA. Not against, but put up against Asian scene differences are going to be discussed next time around. So so that's gonna be really exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah, you live in NA and play in EU, right?
Yeah, I'm in Pittsburgh right now.
There you go, Pittsburgh.
There you go.
He's representing. There you have it. But but I think that's gonna be. I don't have an outro scene. It's actually kind of sad.
That's alright.
I should have created one of those. That's my mistake. One last question from Max here. Max is gonna get his hands full. Does the MS difference have a big impact, like the ping?
Yeah, so I've been playing EU servers since the game first came out, almost maybe like a month in. I switched just because I felt like the EU scene would be a lot more ahead, and I really wanted to get involved in the best competition possible. So I've kind of adapted to it. Like, switching to NA is almost as if I was playing with a ping difference for one of you guys, because I already lead ahead and I've practiced in EU so much it almost doesn't make a difference for me.
But also I've been playing with a lot of NA people over the time, and for those of you guys who don't know, Pittsburgh is, I would say, on the East Coast. Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, the NA servers in PUBG are on the West Coast. So for people, for people in New York, and I played with a guy from Rhode Island before as well. He told me that he actually had worse connection to NA servers than he did to EU, because I mean, America is a pretty big country when it comes to it. So he technically, I think he's closer to Paris than he is to LA. So
never heard that.
I mean, you might not even be better off when you're in Pittsburgh.
That's crazy,
playing
yeah.
NA servers.
Who knows?
Yeah, you have to. Now they've added the whole MS thing now, haven't they? With this patch as well, you can toggle it on and off when you're playing.
Oh, I didn't.
I think I saw something on that in the patch notes today.
That'd
But
be cool.
that's for another. That's for the technology connection discussion on episode 342. We'll take it at another time. But I think that's gonna be it for now. We've hit the 1 hour and 10 mark, and I think we started the stream with a 10-hour countdown. So finishing at around 1 hour of total time. So Voxic, any closing remarks from you?
No, that was awesome, man. Thank you for having me. That was a great talk.
Yeah, it was good times. Hopefully it'll happen
Good
again.
stuff.
Hopefully again sometime soon. And for those of you guys sitting out there in chat, you can see on the screen here, of course, Voxic's Twitter handle. Please go on and follow him. He's if you want to learn how to play PUBG, jump on over there and figure it out, because he's the lead. That any shout outs, Voxic? Do you you have somebody to impress?
Shout out to the Knights.
There you go. Gotta
team,
represent,
there you go.
right? He doesn't want to get benched, boys. You can tell it.
Yeah, don't find me.
No, but either way, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. The ones of you guys did, and for those of you guys watching on YouTube, I'm hoping to. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I've made a YouTube account, and I'm gonna upload the videos. That's the start, right?
Yeah.
With that said, boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for you who were active in the chat, and have a great
Thank you.
evening. See you, boys, and take care.